Chair.
Thank you, sir. Thanks in advance for taking my time to listen to my points that were made during a special meeting regarding February 18th, 2021. First and foremost, I'm very displeased that I was not selected to be on the special committee. Every topic selected to be discussed has been a point of contention that I've been discussing for months. I'm on 4 different subcommittees that should have been discussing these topics prior to the special committee. The way the board meetings have been going lately, I truly feel that my questions, comments, and concerns are being silenced. With the chairman suppressing me with a gavel at the last meeting, no apology given, proceedings that should be committee issues are transpiring without our knowledge until the monthly board meeting. The chairman kept the procedures of the phase 1 and phase 2 work of the landfill work secret because he didn't want the public to know any information. And in the last attempt of having a special committee to discuss topics that I continue to bring up. The 5 topics of the special committee were represented topics that could have been handled in our current subcommittee structure. The 5 topics of the special committee were: number 1, workforce groups, MRF employees; 2, employee recognition; 3, diversity update; 4, bidding and contracting, rules and regulations; 5, upper management options, assistant director, have been topics I've been passionately discussing in earlier board members. I'm on the operations and planning committee, which should have handled the workforce group topic. I'm on the corporate planning committee, which should have handled the employee recognition topic. I'm on the corporate planning committee and the finance and administration committee that should have handled the diversity update. I'm on the finance and administration committee and operations and planning committee, which should have handled the bidding and contracting rules and regulations. I'm on the corporate planning and the finance and administration committees that should have handled the upper management option topic. Since I was bypassed for the special committee and all the other subcommittees were bypassed as well, I'm going to give the board my review of the topics. The workforce groups absolutely makes me want to throw up. I've never been around a group of professionals that have deliberately denied individuals the right to grow and improve their lifestyles. Not only have they denied the current employees of the MRF the rights that they so deserve by working for a government entity, they have denied the same rights to individuals in this community by not offering these jobs for employment. Staff stated that we hire a temporary agency for short-term issues. My question is this: if we're hiring for short-term issues, why are we using temp agencies for long-term employment? We have a permanent facility and we need permanent employees that can benefit by working for government agencies. I've heard all kinds of rudimentary excuses as to why we do not have local hires. Upper staff says our current workers do not want to apply for the jobs. Why would anyone not want to apply for a job that would give them a raise and benefits? But why do we have to hire them? We can hire other locals. If the current employees do not want the job, hire someone else. The small pay decrease that the upper staff has stated on multiple times that the line workers would receive to get their benefits is completely hogwash. The folks at the MRF will not take a decrease to go full-time. They will get a pay increase. The line workers make $9.80 per hour at the moment. If they were hired full-time by the SWA, as was stated in our special meeting, they would be considered trade workers making $13.51, which is contradictory to the benefits hogwash that was discussed earlier. If the SWA would hire the current line workers at the current rate that the SWA pays the temporary agency, the line workers would make $14.78 an hour. If the SWA would hire the line workers at the current rate that the SWA is paying, the SWA would be saving $4.19 if they hired them at $9.80, which is what they're currently making. I'm only comparing hourly rates to hourly rates. Upper management can blow smoke up others, but not me. I own a small business, and everyone at the MRF is making more than my lower level folks, and we do not have the budget nor the money associated as the SWA has. And we don't have any problem finding good quality people to work. We work in the mud, the swamps, in the heat, in the cold, in the snow. We work early mornings, late nights, 6 and 7 days a week, 50 to 60 hours a week. If we can find great people to work at lower rates than what the MRF is currently paying, then I do not believe staff's excuses. How can the SWA say with good faith that we have not been able to hire someone to a permanent position in the MRF in over 15 years? If we paid the MRF employees $14.70 an hour, which is equivalent to what we're paying them through the staff agency, people would knock our doors down to be hired. Staff reasoning was the following. We work the temp so we can avoid unemployment issues, so we can avoid the hiring practices and processes, that we do not try to hire people that's had 3 or 4 jobs lately in a short period of time, that we do not hire people with no experience. How can we go on record as an organization and say that? That's discrimination. Per the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the law forbids discrimination when it comes to any aspect of employment, including hiring, firing, pay, job assignments, promotions, layoffs, training, fringe benefits, and any other term or condition of employment. How can people have experience if we don't train them? How many MRF employment opportunities are around to get training needed to pass our requirements for hiring? What are our requirements at the MRF? Have we spoken to the South Carolina Employment Office in Conway or Marion? If I went to my HR department and those were the excuses I was given for not being able to hire people, I'd hire me a new HR department. We also talk about liability at SWA all the time. First party liability, second party liability, third party liability. It was discussed in the special committee meeting as well. Yet we allow a third-party employment contractor to send us contract labor that we do not know if it will pass the SWA background check or not. Have they passed our background checks? We let a third-party employment contractor send us workers that are not sure would even pass the I-9 verification process the federal government requires. We're so worried about liability, but we continue to turn a blind eye to this situation. If we are working folks that may or may not be legally and pass I-9 verifications, then we're breaking the federal law. What happens when someone that cannot pass our background test is working for us and does something very bad to another employee? Do you think we're going to be left out of the lawsuit? Diversity at SWA, and most of my thoughts have already been spoken. We've had a great opportunity with the MRF to make our institution more diversified if we would just do it. Stop making these excuses and make it happen. The money excuse does not hold any validation considering all the other things we're spending money on. It boils down to the fact that the powers that be have not made it a priority. Why is that? Why can we not get local people to work at a local government agency in this local community? During the bidding and contracting topic, Pam stated she believes that since it's in the budget, the item has already passed the board and the department directors, and Danny Knight should be able to handle it from there. In the bylaws that Danny Knight handed out during the special committee meeting, it states, and I quote, "The chair or executive director shall execute all contracts and agreements authorized by the board." We, the 2020-21 board and staff, have been in direct violation of our own bylaws. We've not authorized several agreements, and we've not seen them to do so. We called one, and I believe I may have to do some research, a second special meeting to discuss Phase 2 contract, to review it, go over it, and approve it. Yet neither meeting produced a discussion, and neither meeting produced a vote. I was even told by the chairman in the email I should not attend. I was told by another board member that a SWA board member was in the parking lot prior to a special meeting, letting everybody know we're not going to talk about or vote on the landfill contract. Board member Mr. Hughes even brought up that he was upset that a special meeting was called during a regular board meeting and that nothing of importance was produced and that his time was very important. Next board meeting, after this meeting, we find out that the bid was accepted, approved, and contract signed. Who's in charge here? When I look at my SWA organizational chart for June 30th, 2020, it shows the board of directors above the executive director. I often feel like the organizational chart does not reflect our current operational procedures. We may need to move the board of directors beneath the executive director because we only find out after the fact. Thanks for allowing me to summarize the special meeting. No further comment.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Appreciate your comments. Take issue with a number of them, but you have the right to express them because you have the right to hold those views. As we told you in the last meeting, when we review the budget, that budget is the operating orders for staff to act. When we approve the budget, everything that's in the budget is a go signal to proceed. It's not unlike what county council does when they approve our budget as well. They also have to approve our projects before we can proceed, and as part of their budget process, because we are incorporated in the county's budget. That's how it has been done since our founding, and that is how we follow it. So that is where we take issue on it as it relates to line of authority. This board gives its authority in the annual budget review process. I'm surprised that we need to be explicit about it, but we do need to be explicit so everyone does understand that process. That's why Ms. Bidding and her presentation tonight talked about the upcoming process, because we want that process to be as transparent as possible so everyone understands what's being discussed and what green lights are given when it's approved. If everyone doesn't understand that, it's our failing, and I'm sorry that everyone hasn't understood that when you approve a budget, you approve all projects that are included in that budget. You also include all items of equipment and other capital elements that are in that budget. So that's something that you need to be aware of as we approach this new budget cycle. The time to bring up your questions and to understand the items that are in the budget is when we review it. Staff has the information. If we don't get all the information out, it's our own failing in not asking the right questions. So let's make sure that we work with staff to go review all projects and understand as completely as we can the green lights that we're authorizing when we approve those budgets.